Hello and welcome to this video on how to start a scout group. My name's Simon Morley and I'm a member of the British Boy Scout, British Girl Scout Association, which is a national uniformed scout association based in the United Kingdom. This video is about how to start up a scout group. I'm going to tell you what foundations you need to put in place, about all the sections and what things you need to do to have a successful scout group. Scouting is really needed at the moment. We're in a national lockdown, just been in it for just over a year. Children are falling behind and they desperately need the skills which scouting can teach them. And we will go into some of those skills a bit later on, but scouting creates a more rounded, a better type of person that can contribute to society. Not just sit at home on a PlayStation, but actively contribute. So let's talk about starting a scout group. First step, you need to find where there's a need. Okay, there's no point opening a scout group where there's no need, either in a village where there's no children. Some villages or some towns or areas of towns are, let's say, catered more towards the elderly, because they're more like retirement places. There's no point starting a scout group in places like that because there'll be no children there. You also need to find a place where you're not swamped by other great clubs and societies. So, for example, when I started my scout group in my village, we have a fantastic cricket club. We've got a little football club. We've got like dance clubs and a tennis club. But there's no other clubs which are non-sporting, so it was ideal for the foundation of a scout group. Once you've identified a location, hopefully somewhere you're local to, so you know the area and you know the people, you need to look for a venue. Okay, fantastic venues are things like village halls, church halls, community halls. Okay, a lot of these are normally run by a church, like your church hall, which are ideal. Just approach a church, sit down with them, tell them what you're planning to do. Which brings me on to my next point. We heavily encourage you to get a sponsored scout group, get sponsorship agreement in place. This isn't monetary sponsorship, but this is sponsorship with a local, for example, church or community hub, for example. But get that sponsorship because it works both ways. We're sponsored by a church. We meet in the school hall, which is the church school, and we get reduced rent because they want to support what we do and what we do with the children. But also we will go to, I think, 4 church parades a year. We'll meet the church community and we become an active part in that church community, which has benefits for them as well, because the older people of that church community get to see proactive, nice young children. And sometimes a lot of older people are intimidated and scared by young children. So this kind of bridges the gap between the generations, which is a fantastic thing. So get sponsorship. Another great thing about sponsorship, especially if you do get sponsored by a church, is they have a wider framework. If you have an issue that you need an immediate answer to, or you need to tap into some help from this network, they're always there. They have paid people who can help you as part of your sponsorship deal. If you just need to ask some questions because you're not sure about something, again, tap into your sponsorship web, tap into this whole community. My group is sponsored by Church of England Church. We have a national community that I can go to for help and assistance, even safeguarding training. I can do that through the church. So bear that in mind when you're looking at starting up your group, looking at your venue. I strongly suggest looking at sponsorship. You don't have to be sponsored, but the amount of support you get from being sponsored is fantastic. Groups sometimes show sponsorship by including the name of the sponsor in the group title. We actually don't. My group is just called First Reed and Symonston Scout Group, which is the 2 villages. But some might say First Reed and St John's, Reed St John's Scout Group. You get where I'm going there. But that's an agreement you can have with your sponsorship authority. So let's have a look at the foundations, the fundamental things you need to put in place before you even start thinking about opening up a scout group. You've got your venue, or you've got a venue identified. You've got rough sponsorship in place. What you need to now do is go along to your sponsor and start asking if people can volunteer to assist you. You need a pool of volunteers. Now this is going to be made up of two types of people. You're going to have scoutmasters, leaders, they're uniformed people who run the actual day-to-day activities and the sessions for the children. And the other type of volunteer is the committee. A successful group always has a full committee behind it. I don't know of one unsuccessful group in our association, because all the groups have committees behind them, supporting them, helping them make the decisions that the scoutmasters, quite frankly, don't need to think about. So as part of that committee, you're going to need a secretary, you're going to need a chairperson, you're going to need a treasurer. They're your three key officers. They shouldn't be related, they should all be just separate people from the community, people who might not necessarily want to be active leaders or deal with the children, might not want to go on camps, might not be able to, but do want to support the group. You'll find these people everywhere. You just need to put a little olive branch out and say, would you like to help in the group? You've got some skills which I think could be really useful. So you've got your three main officers. Sometimes parents will also step up to become officers. On our group committee, we have our three main officers. We have the group scoutmaster, which is the scouting representative. Then we have lay people. These lay people are normally either a local councillor who's very active in the community. We'll normally put them on. Sponsoring authority, so we might have the vicar on, and also we have parent members. We have one parent member from each section, and they're like the go-between between this committee that the parents don't really see and the scout leaders and what happens in the scout group. So we have a parent in each section who reports back and can talk on behalf of the parents at the meetings, and it works really well. So that's your committee. You need that in place. You need your key officers. Once you've got your key officers in your committee, you need to think about, how am I going to run the meetings? I can't do it on my own, so I'm going to need help. I would say, as a rule of thumb, you're going to need 3 adults, including yourself, so 3 adults per section. Obviously, the younger sections might need a few more adult eyes, depending on how big your section is, and the older sections are more independent and can work on their own within the patrol systems which we set out. But I would suggest, as a simple rule, 3 adults per section. Of course, these adults can do more than one section, so I'm not saying if you run 3 sections you need 9 adults. I'm saying make sure when you run the sections you've got about 3 on the ground leaders who can help. My group, again, I'm going to keep bringing comparisons back to my group. We heavily rely on parent volunteers. The association has a non-uniformed role of supporter. For our supporters, we give them a t-shirt, group t-shirt, and on the back, I don't know if you can see, it says supporter. All our supporters have these, and it identifies them as a point of contact in that group or that section for the children. They can see that, oh, that's a leader. Scoutmasters wear a uniform, which I'll show you later on. So we've got our committee set up, we've got our support set up. Now what we need to do is make sure that all the people recruited are actually suitable to be in contact with children. This is a fundamental part of starting your scout group. You cannot take anybody who you see to help at your scout group. You need to ensure you are operating a safe environment for those children. Our association actually uses one of the most up-to-date DBS, which is Disclosure and Barring Services, available, and this is called the update service. So what will happen is you will fill in a DBS form, it'll take all your details, and then certain databases will be checked, the National Police Computer and all sorts of databases. You will be given a certificate and a number. That number then follows you. Okay, so if you were, for example, going to then volunteer in another association, you would give your number and they would type it in and register you as part of them. And then if something did happen, they would get an immediate email And we also would get immediate emails saying Joe Blogs has done this, have a chat to him, or Joe Blogs is no longer suitable. And it's a fantastic service. It's not used by many youth provisions in the UK at the moment. I think we're one of the very few Scout associations that actually use the update service, but it is fantastic. So get your adult leaders, your new volunteers on there, get the DBS checks back. They're now suitable, okay? So it's the next step now. We need to register our membership. So all this time, you've set up, you probably would have made an initial contact, be that to me via the meeting, via this video, or one of the email addresses which I'll put below and also at the end of the video. You make an initial contact, you have a chat, you make sure the association's right for you. We're a traditional association, we use traditional skills, camping, hiking, you know, it needs to be right for you and what you want to offer. So by this time, we would have been having a chit chat, getting everything set up for you, and it's time to make a decision. It's time to register your members, not your group, your members. So you've got your DBS check, you register your members, and once registered, you can then order your uniform. Once you've ordered your uniform, you've registered your members, we need to now look at registering your group and getting insurance. We have a national insurance company which groups pay to cover them for their activities that they do. There's also options that you can pay on top. So if you have a lot of group equipment, you can pay money a little bit extra on your premium to include this group equipment should anything happen to it. We have a very good national insurance company, and it currently works out on average for a full group of all the sections, ranging from 6-year-old to 18-year-olds, currently works out about probably £115, £120 per year per group. That's not per member, that's per group. We're going to talk a little bit more about finances now, but that's your insurance. You need insurance, obviously, because if anything happens, it's coming back to you. So get insurance in place. National fees. We are very, very unique, being the British Boy Scout and British Girl Scout Association. In fact, I think we are the only Scout association in the United Kingdom that does not charge our youth members anything to join. Okay, we believe Scouting should be free to join for youth members. The only charges are the charges you put on as your group. So at the moment, I think we're charging my group £9.50 a month. Paid by direct debit. That includes badges. All badges are paid for by the group. It includes your neckerchief when you get invested, which is a big part of a child's initiation into the movement. It also includes some trips. It includes discounted camps. It includes the insurance premium for everybody. So you can see it's, oh yeah, and of course it includes group overheads like leader training, leader uniform, also fees for halls, group bills. So it's a very low fee that we charge our children. We're only able to charge the children such a low fee because we don't have big fees coming from headquarters. And surely you're asking now, well, how does headquarters get the money? Another unique thing, we're all volunteers, okay? The association does not employ anybody. So from this video to the website to the national shop, nobody receives a dime, nobody receives a penny in payment. It's all run by volunteers. That means, yeah, things can get done a little bit slower than usual, but it means costs are kept right down. So there's nothing to pass on to our youth members, which means the initial running cost, all the money the group needs to charge through their budget, comes to the group. They've got nothing to pay to anybody else at headquarters. We put a little bit of commission on the uniform that we sell, and that's how the association gets its running costs. So it's as simple as that. So you've identified your venue, you've got your people in place, you've spoken to headquarters, you've registered your people, you've registered your group. How do you actually get started? Because it can be a bit of a financial burden, or it can seem to be a bit of a financial burden to start a scout group. It's not. There is loads of money out there in the community to start up youth groups, because there's such a need for them. In Lancashire, for example, you can contact your local Lancashire County Councillor and they have a funding pot which they can decide to give you a little bit off if you apply for it. There's also national funding pots, and they're readily available. As an association, we can point you in the right direction of these and also get you started up with a bit of a startup grant by helping you talk to your local councillors. Even your parish council, they'll normally give you a small bit of funding, and you want to use this money maybe to pay your first rent before you start getting subs in from the children, maybe buy a uniform stock for those children who can't afford uniform, because remember, scouting is spread throughout the whole of society. That's one of the fantastic things about it. You will get some scouts who go to private school and are pretty well off. You will get some scouts that don't, and quite frankly, they struggle for the very basics. Those children will be put into one group, they wear exactly the same uniform and nobody knows any difference, because once you're in your scout group, you are all scouts. Nobody knows anything else except the leaders who will assist wherever they can. So we can put you in contact with the funding, get a bit of a uniform bank going as well, so that everybody's the same, everybody looks the same. Next thing, we are getting to the end of this video now, and I do hope it is been a bit helpful for you. You need to start as you mean to go on. Don't cut corners. If you can't open every section because you're going to be too thin on the ground, don't open every section, okay? Coming back to my group, we opened with one section, and that section was beavers. We started with 5, okay? 5 beavers. We did that through just leafleting the local houses, not even the whole village, one specific area. Got 5 children, and that ballooned and ballooned and ballooned, and this was the beaver section, which is 6 to 8 year old children. And I would advise you start with the younger sections, because then they have progression. You can open up other sections as they progress. So we started with beavers. Beavers very quickly filled to 15, which are our maximum. We could take more if we wanted to, but 15 is a nice number. So then we went on to open wolf cubs, 8 to 11 year olds. Again, starting with a very low number. Wolf cubs currently sits just over our target of 15, and we've got 20, but we've got some ready to move up. We want 15 in each section, really. It's just a nice number, as I said. Then a few years down the line, and I'm talking a few years down the line, we opened scouts. And that's because we wanted the progression. So we've now got these children who started at 6 years old. They joined wolf cubs at 8 years old. They're now 11, and they're ready to move on to the scout section. And you've got a good bunch of children who've grown up together, learned the basic scouting skills. Now's the time to open your scout section. You've got the foundations there that they'll need to progress on to get their higher awards. So that's how I would suggest you start off a group. Start small, start with a lower section. Don't think, oh gosh, I'm going to open beavers, wolf cubs, scouts, senior scouts, rover scouts, all in one go. It won't work. It'll be too much hassle for you. It'll be too much hard work. So just bear that in mind. Start with the younger sections, wolf cubs or beavers. Beavers is an extremely popular section. Okay, if you want to start a group and start it straight away, open beavers, because you will not struggle to get children in, and it's a great age to mould them into the scouting mentality, thinking about helping other people, and also simple things like how to tie a shoelace, how to cross a road, all these very simple skills that will then bring them onto wolf cubs, and they can progress even further. Anyway, I'm waffling a little bit. So start small, build up. I just said about the age ranges. The youth program runs from 6 to 18 years old. My group caters for all those. We have 4 sections which are run by the British Boy Scouts, and we have a rover crew, which I'll come onto. Rovers is like for the over 18s. So we have beavers, which is 6 to 8 year olds, wolf cubs, which is 8 to 11 year olds, scouts, 11 to 15 year olds, and senior scouts, 15 to 18 year olds. We run each programme on what's called a proficiency scheme. Each section has specific badges which are age appropriate. The younger they are, obviously beavers, the simpler the badges are. The older they are, the scouts and seniors, the harder the badges are, and some are quite hard. So have a look on the website and you'll be able to see all the different badges which are available. Then when you get to 18, you have the option of joining Rover Scouts, and Rover Scouts at the moment is going through quite it's coming out of the ashes, should I say, because Rover Scouting, there weren't many groups, but all of a sudden over the last year, I think it's because so many adults have been at home, not being able to do a lot, Rover crews are popping up everywhere, and it's fantastic to see because Rover crews are normally independent, so you can be part of a Scout association, but a lot of them are independent Rover crews, and you just get to see a whole new type of person, different people you've never met before, go on camps away from children where you can just be adults. So that's something to look into, but we won't concentrate too much on that at the moment. You're ready to go. Okay, you've got everything in place, you've decided what section you want to start with. The main thing now is you're a member of a worldwide family. There's all different Scout associations, okay, all over the world. I think there's about 6 in the United Kingdom alone. But the great thing is we all help each other. We're all here for the same reason. And that reason is to develop the youth into worthwhile and proactive members of society. Some people do that in different ways. We do it in a traditional way. But you're now a member of the biggest family in the world. You now automatically will have friends in every town, every city, every country you go to, and it honestly is a fantastic experience. You can go on to do as much or as little with your group as you want. My group, we've taken them abroad. We took them to the Ukraine only 2 years ago, and in the Ukraine we met our brother Scouts from Poland and the Ukraine, and Scouts from all over the UK. We all went there for a international camp, and it was fantastic. Would I have ever gone to the Ukraine before? No, but it was fantastic. Meeting people and whole different cultures, the doors Scouting opens for you. I can only advise you take part. So, as I said at the beginning, now is the time. Certainly if you watch this video to this point, stand up. Get in contact with us. Tell us what you want to do. Say you're thinking about opening a Scout group, but you're not too sure. We'll guide you through the process. We will help you. But now is the time. The children need you to step up, get involved, get a group open. And hopefully, in the next few months, when this lockdown's lifted, we'll be able to see each other face to face, sit around the campfire, and have a few campfire skits and songs. Anyway, that's enough from me now. My details are below if you want to contact me. The national details are also below. So get in touch with us, ask us as many questions as you want, and we look forward to seeing you in the near future. I didn't show you that uniform, did I? 1 second. So, here we go. Thank you for watching the video. Hope to see you in the near future. Goodbye.